All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So, man, just getting home from Orlando now. Just throwing the Indiana game for obvious reasons. In any case, I was checking my phone, I guess 30, 45 minutes ago, and you guys already know this by now, but Justin Fields was named the starting quarterback for the Jets this weekend against the Bengals in Cincinnati. Here's the deal. And I'm saying, you know what? I'm going to let it loose this Sunday. I am not just going to go down doing exactly what I've been doing these past couple of weeks, or really since the start of the season, right? I'm going to play my style of football. If my read is not there, I'm moving forward. I'm running. Running is my best quality as a quarterback. I'm doing that. I'm not taking that out of my game. I think the Jets offensive coaching staff needs to do a better job of actually playing to Fields' strengths, right? Getting him outside the pocket. This is a tip that I learned from a college coach years and years ago, right? If you want to roll with a quarterback that is struggling to process, consistently showing like that deer in headlights, you know, maybe he's not throwing to an open target, maybe he doesn't know where to go with the football, maybe he's just standing in the pocket, not really progressing through his reads, maybe he's locking on one guy, maybe he's just confused by the coverage, thinking one thing's pre-snap and then post-snap something, you know, he sees something different and wasn't expecting it. You know, whatever, maybe he's dropping his eyes down from the progression and looking at the rush because he's scared of being hit. Whatever the reason is for a quarterback that's not processing or seeing the field well, one of the easiest things that you can do, or simplest things that you can do to mitigate that, again, if you want to continue to roll or if you're forced to roll with that quarterback, is getting him outside the pocket. Literally clearing away the clutter. All of the offensive linemen, Fields doesn't have to try to find passing lanes to throw to. He's not looking at the rush. He's not looking at a blitz. He's not worrying what's happening on his blind side. He's not worrying about if a running back is going to be picking up an extra blitzer. He's not worrying about someone chipping. You're getting him outside the pocket, literally shortening the field. And all Fields has, or all, you know, said quarterback will have in front of him, are pass catchers and DBs. And of course, maybe like a linebacker that's fading over or a defensive end that's trying to close in. But that's a lot easier to diagnose what's happening in front of you as opposed to sitting in the pocket, especially if you're not a pocket passer. I mean, the Jets can run the ball really, really well. We can run block really, really well, right? Let's lean into that. I understand that Braylon Allen's hurt, but let's lean into that. Bruise can play, Isaiah Davis can play, and let's work off of play action, right? Get Fields going on bootlegs. Let's move him outside the pocket. You can even do speed outs, right? Where Fields snaps the ball and he starts moving to his right, to his left. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do to get the ball out of Fields' hands quicker and make it easier for him to process. Now, at the end of the day, Fields needs to execute, right? Fields, you know, if you're an offensive coordinator, you can only you can only do so much. At the end of the day, if there's wide receivers open, Fields needs to throw the football. And, you know, again, if I'm Justin, it kind of feels like this is the last chance to make something happen based off of Carolina, based off of Denver. You know, one thing that I find very concerning is, sorry, my cats are running around here. Fields basically said that after the Denver Broncos game, like he was going to let it rip a little bit against the Panthers, and we saw literally like the same exact style of quarterback play, right? Hesitant to throw the ball. I mean, there were moments where there were like screens that were open and he was not throwing it. So hopefully that changes this week. The good news here for the Jets, they're going up against a defense that I think will be better in time, but they simply up to this point, they've just calling it like it is, they have not been good. I respect Al Golden. I like a bunch of their players on that Bengals defense, but calling it like it is, this defense is not good. They're 31st in the red zone. They're 31st on third downs. They're 31st in yards per game. They're 31st in points per game, points allowed, yards allowed. They are 27th in sack percentage. They're also averaging, I believe, over 130 rushing yards per game. So, you know, it's a defense that gives up a lot of yards, a lot of points. They're not really great in the red zone. They're not really good in those critical situations, those third downs. They don't really affect the quarterback. They can't really, or haven't really shown an ability to just stuff the run. You know, and obviously, you know, it's not a perfect situation. It's year one of Al Golden in Cincinnati, and they've had a couple injuries, no Hendrickson and whatnot. Cam Taylor-Britt has missed a couple games, so to my knowledge. So, you know, this is like if the Jets want to actually actually step up offensively, this, I want to say, could be that game, could be the game to do it. Not to disrespect or discredit anything that the Bengals defense possesses, and it is in Cincinnati. You know the Bengals fans are going to be coming in, packing the house. I love Bengals fans for that. Yeah, not by no means am I saying this is going to be some sort of easy matchup. But if you look at the ranks, if you look at, how this Jets special teams unit has played, how the defense has played, if we can get similar performances from both of those sides and the offense can just be functional, can we be the 21st, 22nd ranked offense? Look, if the Jets looked below average, D+, C- performance, if that was the type of, result that we saw against Carolina and Denver, we would have won those games. We would have actually won those games. But it's F-. It's unbelievable. Just, man, the defense finally turns around. The special teams, it finally seems like they figured out the blunders. There's no more stupid, errors there. Nick Folk is perfect on his kicks. McNamara's continuing to just punt the ball a mile. Punt coverage has been great. It seems like we're starting to turn the corner in those two phases. We already have turned the corner. Not saying that, we should expect the defense to hold every offense to 13 points, but you guys know what I'm saying. Like, they just look more in rhythm. They look more in sync. The effort's a lot higher. It feels like the younger guys are playing really, really well, and they fit the system. That's obviously great. It's just the offense. Just simply the offense that needs to step up here. So, in any case, we'll see what happens this Sunday. Justin Fields starting again. If I'm Fields, Woody's comments, the articles, the production, I'm letting it rip. I'm playing my style of game. I'm getting outside the pocket. I'm extending plays, and I'm running. That's what I'm doing. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys, and as always, go Jets.